Phone call, salsa, shuffle, high step, headstand, spike, dunk, ass, 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 ass. Hi, my name is Grub Dickman, and I was the NFL's longtime executive viceroy of player excitement. For my entire career, I fought and clawed to preserve one universal truth. The NFL is a serious organization meant for serious people. Back in the early days, we didn't even have the word celebration. You scored a touchdown, you kind of stood there like you didn't know what to do with your hands, and some guy in the stands would stand up and clap. That's how you knew you did something good. But as football grew more and more popular, the players and fans both realized that when the goal line got crossed, someone should probably react. The obvious first thought was, just huck the ball into the crowd. So I banned that in 1964 with the help of my friend, former commissioner Pete Rozelle, or as I called him, Alvin. So a year later in 1965, Homer Jones of the Giants had an idea. Instead of throwing the ball up, he threw the ball down. And while his technique needed a lot of refinement, he had unknowingly just created the first named touchdown celebration of all time, the spike. The college football world outlawed the spike incredibly, impressively quickly, but the joy policing game would change forever in 1969 when Houston's Elmo Wright caught a pass, high-stepped past his defender, and just kept high-stepping into the end zone and after in this burst of excitement. Some called it the birth of the modern touchdown dance, others were horrified. There was no place for individuality in a dignified, militaristic team effort like football. You gotta play the game the right way. I mean, we're talking about the 1960s American South here. The backlash was racism. But please keep in mind that none of this applies to me, though. I was always in it for the right reasons. It's funny you ask me that. I have a ton of black friends. Elmo would be the first to bring dancing into the NFL, but a shift was happening generally. This corruption that was favoring fun over business. In fact, it was turning fun into business. The AFL merger brought double the teams with double the colors. Billy White Shoes Johnson was turning punt returns into appointment television. Butch Johnson was doing this thing called the California Quake, and it was excuse me. By the early 80s, we were entirely off the rails. Damn near the entire Washington Redskins offense was freeze-frame high-fiving in the end zone. And you want to know what they called themselves? Do you want to take a guess? The Fun Bunch. Break it up, you fucking cornballs. But the Fun Bunch were not alone. Even defenders were starting to celebrate. Over on the Jets, Mark Gastineau practically started the sack dance.
I started the sack dance!
Yeah, Mark, I just said that. It was too much. You get that, right? It was too much. So in 1984, I got back together with Alvin, and we made a few new rules. Rule 12, Section 2, Article 14, any prolonged, excessive, or premeditated celebration by individual players or groups of players will be construed as unsportsmanlike conduct. Note, spontaneous expressions of exuberance will be permitted. This was only a 5-yard penalty back in those days, but this rule was just about restoring control to our men in uniform, the referees. Godspeed, gentlemen. Now let those beautiful yellow hummingbirds fly.
Amazing. It was a play pass with a double post. The players doing their celebration. That's called the bob and weave.
For whatever reason, they mostly didn't, though. I handed those dumb-as-rocks zebras almost limitless power, and they hardly even thought to abuse it. So we saw even more named celebrations crop up in the years to come. Ernest Givens with the electric slide, Icky Woods with the Icky Shuffle, the first Lambeau Leap in 1993, Terrell Davis with the Mile High Salute, Jamal Anderson with the Dirty Bird, the Rams were doing the Bob and Weave. But you gotta understand that all this celebration business, it's a slippery slope. First, you let the kids do the Icky Shuffle because it seems harmless, and before you know it, they're doing this shit in your driveway. So I needed a way to institute another crackdown, something or someone that could spark an outrage. I mean, maybe I could say they were dangerous. Gus Frerotte sprained his neck headbutting a concrete wall, but everyone kind of just agreed that was a stupid-ass thing to do. I was beginning to lose hope, until, like a shooting star, he appeared. The Master. Just marvel at how effortlessly he pisses everyone off.
The man is not a winner. He is just an attention whore. He is a disgusting example.
Terrell Owens will forever be the ultimate celebrator in my mind, not because of the creativity or the media attention, but his undying dedication to being a dick to anyone he viewed as his enemy. It didn't matter if you were a player, a fan, a former teammate, hell, a current teammate. Everyone was a potential target, and that hater's mentality is something I deeply respect. Mocking Ray Lewis's dance after scoring on the Ravens, mocking Bill Belichick and the Pats with a fake camera right after Spygate. I mean, let's consider the forethought to run routes with a Sharpie pressed against your ankle in an opposing stadium just so when you score, you can take it out, sign the ball, and then not hand the ball to a child in the stands, but hand it to your financial advisor.
Hey, you can get this jersey right here in the pro shop. In the pro shop.
The media just hated this guy. They did my entire job for me, and I'm thankful they did because I truly love him like a son. Since the NFL is nothing if not a copycat league, once T.O. pulled out that Sharpie, it became prop mania overnight.
And he pulls up the protective coating. There's a new one.
And it's 7-0 Bengals. And Chad says, please don't find me again.
We did find him, obviously. And since that was more than all the ammunition we needed, the following season we were able to triple the excessive celebration penalty for any extracurricular activity deemed flamboyant. That might make you wonder where the line is that makes something flamboyant. I don't know, everything from like 95 to 2005 is a total blur. I was just totally drunk out of my mind on power, and also Seagrams. Fines or not, the players ignored the rules anyways. They were putting with the pylon, ripping signs away from fans, proposing to cheerleaders. Every week, there were brand new horrors flashing across every screen in America.
As he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate
Yes.
that we had that on our air live.
Yes.
That is disgusting by
Yes.
Randy Moss.
I agree with everything this bright young man is saying. So in 2006, we banned it. All of it. Every last cheek. No more celebrating with any props, including the ball itself. No celebrating on the ground either, and the officials had the right to tell you to stop celebrating whenever they want. Literal fun police. And that's what the fans called us, the No Fun League. We had a brand new commissioner that was going to help us clean up our image, more fines, more flags. It was magnificent. I won. The fans and the NFL's entertainment value lost majorly. But come on, look at this. Look at how much better this is. A defiant few like your T.O.'s, your Steve Smiths, Chad Johnsons, they kept the touchdown celebration alive. Chad Johnson literally set aside hundreds of thousands of dollars before every season to prepare for all the fines he was going to get slapped with. You know, Chad really screwed up the whole policing game because ultimately he cared way more about being entertaining to the fans than the money he was losing.
I never stopped.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he understood during that time I'm having fun and playing the game the way I felt it should be played.
Sure.
For a moment there, one beautiful moment, we were close to erasing celebrations. But today, there is more celebrating than ever before, and it is all the fault of this man, this two-timing piece of work. Despite his very public support of my wonderful policies, Raj turned out to be a spineless fraud who never cared about protecting the sanctity of the league. He was too busy getting blasted by 3,300 public controversies and getting owned by Tom Brady over the most stupid shit imaginable. When social media started turning celebrations into free marketing for the league, it rapidly reached a point where these two acts were simultaneously being punished by one hand of the NFL, while the other hand was working to promote them. In other words, we were hypocrites, laughingstocks. All the work I'd done, the countless years of work, thrown away for whatever this is.
And he wanted to make the game more fun, ultimately. Fans wanted it. We had that no fun league stuff, and to me, let him do it.
Yeah.
You know, let him have a good time.
When I got word before the 2017 season that Raj was throwing in the towel and writing this cute little letter to fans about how excited he was to loosen all the celebration rules, it was a regrettable incident.
Roll in and undo my life's legacy. I will not stand aside while you sodomize.
On top of rolling back all the regulations of the beautiful No Fun League, group celebrations made a comeback in a massive way. Duck, duck, goose, hide and go seek, bank robbery, all of these things. And they even had the nerve to add a Celebration of the Year award into the very next honors ceremony.
Welcome back to NFL Honors. I am here with Tommy DeVito.
So yeah, for years now, I've been sidelined. All day, I sit in my house and have my savings account drained by fake women on the internet. I thought for certain that it was over, that my career fighting the war on fun was nothing more than a futile attempt to preserve something that was never worth preserving in the first place. But for the very first time, I was wrong.
Conclusion of the play. Taunting.
Taunting. Taunting. After the play was over, taunting. Offense number 9.
Well, the league put an emphasis on taunting a couple of years ago. They've turned it into a felony, 15 yards.
The penalty of taunting has been around for decades, but it wasn't made a point of emphasis until the 2021 season, because in the Super Bowl, this gentleman, Antoine Winfield Jr., had the stones to do this. Now, was this little peace sign an iconic, perfectly humbling callback to an earlier meeting that year between these two teams?
When we played them earlier, Hill went off on us. He backflipped in front of my face, gave me the peace sign, so it was only right that I gave him the peace sign right back to him.
No, it's a flag. So in 2021, we saw an absolutely beautiful surge in taunting penalties that were called. Looking at the sideline became a penalty.
Taunting.
And this, my friends, is the circle of life. The NFL and dear old Raj may have cast me aside to pretend that they're young and hip and sit around watching Mr. Beast, but I know the truth. This is still all about the same sense of control at the end of the day, just with a less noticeable, more covert operation.
Boy, that is going to be a big penalty as he held it out to Denzel Burke, and he just can't.
Wiping your nose. Gesundheit, 15 yards. Pointing downfield. No, I think you are shooting a gun. You want to look at your opponent after you tackle him? How about you go stand on the sidelines and buy a pair of binoculars? The NFL knows these are unpopular calls too, so often they're not even throwing the flag anymore. They'll just administer their control by tossing out a fine after the game is over, so nobody even knows about it. And do you want to know the best part? The way that I know the tide is changing back? They got rid of the celebration award. But seriously, I am completely out of money. Hopefully, I will die soon, but if not, I am gonna need a job. Roger, I gotta say, you are looking great these days. You should give me a call. Maybe we can go out on town, grab some slop together, like the good old days, Forks optional. You know me. Okay, goodbye, everyone. That's all. How do I hang up the microphone?